Ladies and gentlemen, every human being faces a battle that no one else can see. The battle within the mind. Our thoughts shape our reality, and when those thoughts turn negative, they can steal our peace, our strength, and our joy. But remember, a negative mind will never give you a positive life. The first step in dealing with negative thoughts is awareness. You cannot change what you do not recognize. When you notice your mind drifting toward fear, self-doubt, or anger, don't fight the thoughts. Just observe them. Like clouds passing through the sky, let them move without attaching yourself to them. The more you resist, the more they persist. Understand that your mind is like a garden. Whatever seeds you plant will grow. If you constantly plant worry, regret, or judgment, that is what will bloom. But if you start planting understanding, compassion, and patience, your inner world will begin to change. Negative thoughts only have the power you give them. When you stop feeding them with attention, they slowly lose their strength. One of the greatest lessons from Buddhist teachings is the art of mindfulness. Being present in this very moment. When you focus on the now, the mind cannot dwell on the past or worry about the future. Every breath becomes an anchor. Every heartbeat a reminder that life is happening here, not in your fears. The next time your mind fills with negativity, take a deep breath. Feel it. Let it remind you that you are alive, that you are in control. That thoughts are just visitors, not your masters. Forgive yourself for thinking negatively. We all do. The goal is not to become perfect, but to become aware. Each time you catch yourself falling into a negative pattern and gently return to the present, you are training your mind to find peace. Over time, this practice builds inner strength, a strength that no external force can shake. So, whenever darkness clouds your mind, remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Just like a calm ocean beneath a stormy surface, your true self remains untouched, peaceful, and pure. All you need to do is return to that stillness, and you'll see that every negative thought was only a passing wave, not the ocean itself. Awareness is the first and most powerful step toward overcoming negative thoughts. You cannot free yourself from what you do not see. Many people are trapped in endless cycles of negativity simply because they live unconsciously, reacting to their thoughts instead of observing them. When a negative thought arises, such as fear, anger, or self-doubt, most of us immediately identify with it. We believe the thought is real and part of who we are. But in truth, it's only a momentary pattern of the mind, like a shadow passing over light. When you begin to cultivate awareness, you create distance between yourself and your thoughts. You start to see them as they are, fleeting, impermanent, and powerless without your attention. Awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. The darkness doesn't fight the light, it simply disappears. In the same way, when awareness shines upon your negative thoughts, they lose their strength. For example, if you notice yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," don't argue with the thought or try to suppress it. Instead, simply recognize it. There is a thought of self-doubt. That single moment of awareness transforms your relationship with your mind. You become the observer, not the prisoner. The thought no longer controls you, because you've taken back your power by noticing it. Buddhist teachings remind us that the mind can be both our greatest friend and our worst enemy. When left unchecked, it creates suffering, but when watched with mindfulness, it becomes peaceful. Awareness is the bridge that leads from confusion to clarity. It helps you understand that your thoughts are not facts. They are just temporary expressions of past conditioning, emotions, or experiences. When you are aware, you begin to see patterns, how certain triggers lead to certain thoughts, and how those thoughts shape your emotions and actions. This insight allows you to break free from automatic reactions and respond with calmness and understanding. Practicing awareness doesn't require a special place or time. It can happen anywhere, while walking, working, or even during moments of stress. Every time you pause and simply observe what is happening inside your mind, you train yourself to live consciously. Slowly, awareness becomes your natural state, and negative thoughts lose their grip. The more aware you become, the more peaceful and balanced your inner world grows. When negative thoughts arise, most people instinctively try to fight them or push them away, believing that resistance will make them disappear. But in truth, the more you resist, the stronger they become. Negative thoughts feed on your attention and energy. The key is not to fight them, but to simply observe them with calm awareness. Observation allows you to separate yourself from the thought, instead of being consumed by it. When you observe your thoughts without judgment, they begin to lose their power over you. It's like watching clouds float across the sky. They come, they change shape, and they fade away on their own. You don't need to chase them or make them disappear. They naturally pass when you stop clinging to them. In Buddhism, this practice of observation is known as mindfulness, the art of being fully present. When you observe a thought mindfully, you do not label it as good or bad, right or wrong. You simply witness it as an experience that arises and dissolves in the mind. By doing so, you create space between your awareness and the thought itself. That space is where peace and freedom are found. You realize that you are not the storm of thoughts in your head, but the sky that holds them all. This simple realization can transform your relationship with negativity. Imagine your mind as a river. When you struggle against the current, you become exhausted and overwhelmed. But when you step back and watch the water flow, you understand that it's just movement, temporary and ever changing. The same is true for your negative thoughts. They are moments of energy passing through your consciousness. If you remain still and observant, they flow away without causing damage. But if you fight them or identify with them, you get swept into their current. Observing your thoughts requires patience and compassion toward yourself. There will be times when your mind feels restless or filled with negativity, but instead of reacting, you can remind yourself, this is just a thought, not reality. Slowly, this awareness dissolves the emotional charge behind negativity. Over time, you'll find that your mind becomes calmer, lighter, and more balanced. The art of observing without reacting gives you the power to live with inner peace, even in moments of chaos. Your mind is like a garden, and whatever you plant in it will eventually grow. Every thought you think is a seed. When you constantly plant seeds of worry, fear, and anger, your inner world becomes a reflection of that negativity. But when you nurture thoughts of gratitude, kindness, and patience, your life blossoms with peace and clarity. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. Many people focus on changing the outer world while ignoring the garden within. But true transformation always begins in the mind. If you want a peaceful life, you must first cultivate a peaceful mind. Negative thoughts are like weeds. They grow easily, often without effort, and if left unchecked, they spread quickly. You cannot stop them from appearing, but you can choose not to water them. Every time you dwell on a negative thought, replay an old memory, or complain about something, you are feeding those weeds. Instead, direct your attention toward the positive aspects of life. Focus on what's good, even if it seems small. Gratitude and mindfulness are the sunlight and water that help seeds grow strong. When you train your mind to look for beauty instead of flaws, hope instead of fear, you begin to reshape your inner landscape. In Buddhism, it is taught that your mind creates your world. If your thoughts are filled with hatred and judgment, you will experience suffering. But if your thoughts are filled with love and compassion, peace will naturally follow. This doesn't mean you must force yourself to think positively all the time. It means you consciously choose which seeds deserve your energy. When a negative thought arises, acknowledge it, but don't give it attention. Let it fade on its own. Then gently bring your focus back to something uplifting, a kind act, a peaceful breath, or a moment of stillness. Cultivating your inner garden takes daily care. Just as a gardener removes weeds and tends to flowers, you must regularly check your thoughts and nurture the ones that serve your growth. Over time, your mind becomes a sanctuary rather than a battlefield. The beauty you grow within reflects in your words, your actions, and the energy you share with the world. The more you care for your mental garden, the more your life flourishes with harmony and light. Mindfulness is the art of being completely present in the moment, aware of your thoughts, emotions, and surroundings without judgment. It teaches you to live in the now instead of being trapped in the past or worried about the future. Most of the negativity we experience comes from our mind wandering away from the present. We replay mistakes, imagine problems that haven't happened, and lose touch with the peace that exists in this very moment. Mindfulness brings you back to reality, to the breath, to the simple truth that life only exists here and now. When you learn to stay present, negative thoughts begin to lose their control over you, because they depend on your attention to survive. Each time a negative thought appears, take a deep breath and become aware of it. Don't analyze it or push it away. Simply notice it, as though you are watching a wave rise and fall in the ocean. The breath acts as an anchor that keeps you steady even when your mind feels stormy. When you focus on breathing deeply and consciously, You stop feeding the thought with more fear or energy. This awareness allows the negativity to pass naturally, leaving you calmer and more centered. Mindfulness is not about forcing your mind to be empty. It's about noticing what is happening inside you with acceptance. It's a gentle reminder that thoughts are temporary visitors, not permanent truths. When you are mindful, you begin to respond to life instead of reacting to it. You start to see that every moment holds peace, if you choose to be present enough to feel it. Even during challenges, mindfulness gives you the clarity to act wisely instead of emotionally. Practicing mindfulness doesn't require isolation or silence. It can be done in everyday moments, while eating, walking, working, or even talking. When you pay full attention to what you're doing, you reconnect with life itself. Over time, mindfulness becomes a way of living rather than a technique. It builds inner stillness and strength, allowing you to face difficulties without being overwhelmed by them. The more mindful you become, the more you realize that peace isn't something you have to find. It's already within you, waiting for you to return to the present moment. Forgiving yourself is one of the most powerful steps toward healing from negativity and inner conflict. Many people are harsh with themselves, carrying guilt, regret, and self-judgment for years. They replay their mistakes in their minds, punishing themselves over and over. But self-forgiveness is not about denying what happened. It's about accepting that you are human, imperfect, evolving, and capable of growth. When you hold on to self-blame, you strengthen the very negativity you're trying to escape. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is an act of release. It frees you from the heavy burden of the past and allows you to live more fully in the present moment. Negative thoughts often feed on guilt and shame. They whisper that you are not good enough, that you have failed, that you are unworthy of happiness. But these are illusions created by the mind. The truth is, every person makes mistakes. Every experience, no matter how painful, is part of learning. When you choose to forgive yourself, you acknowledge that you deserve compassion just as much as anyone else. You begin to see that your past does not define you. What defines you is the awareness and growth that follow. Self-forgiveness is not weakness. It is strength. It takes courage to face your pain with kindness instead of criticism. Forgiving yourself also means letting go of the need to be perfect. The path to inner peace is not about never falling, but about rising again with understanding. Each time you forgive yourself for thinking negatively, for losing patience, or for reacting in anger, you break another chain that binds you to suffering. In Buddhism, compassion begins within. You cannot truly be kind to others if you are cruel to yourself. By offering forgiveness to your own heart, you open space for love, patience, and balance to grow. Every time you notice a negative thought and respond with self-understanding instead of judgment, you are practicing forgiveness in its purest form. Over time, this gentle acceptance transforms your inner dialogue. The critical voice softens, and peace takes its place. You start to feel lighter, freer, and more connected to your true self. Through self-forgiveness, you learn that you are not broken. You are healing, growing, and learning to see yourself with the same compassion the world needs more of. You are not your thoughts. This simple yet profound truth can transform the way you experience life. Most of the suffering people feel comes from identifying too deeply with their thoughts, believing that every idea, fear, or worry that crosses the mind is real and personal. But thoughts are not facts. They are temporary visitors in the mind. They come and go like waves on the surface of the ocean, while your true self is the calm depth beneath. When you start to observe your thoughts instead of becoming them, you realize that they do not define who you are. They are just passing patterns of energy shaped by memories, emotions, and habits. When a negative thought arises, such as, "I'm not good enough," or "things will never get better," pause for a moment. Instead of reacting, simply watch it. Ask yourself, is this absolutely true, or is it just a thought? That awareness creates space between you and the thought. In that space, peace begins to grow. The moment you recognize that you are the observer, not the thinker, your negative thoughts lose their power. They can no longer control your emotions or dictate your behavior because you see them for what they are. Mental noise, not reality. Buddhist teachings emphasize this awareness as the key to liberation. The mind produces endless thoughts every day, many of which are repetitive, unnecessary, and self-critical. If you attach to them, you suffer. But if you stay as the silent witness, watching thoughts rise and fall without judgment, you remain untouched by them. You begin to experience a deep stillness within, a peace that doesn't depend on what your mind is saying. This stillness is your true nature, the part of you that never changes even as thoughts, emotions, and situations shift constantly. Over time, this understanding brings freedom. You no longer fear your thoughts, and you no longer feel controlled by them. You realize that the mind is a tool meant to serve you, not rule you. The more you practice being the observer, the clearer and quieter your inner world becomes. Negative thoughts may still appear, but they pass through without leaving a mark. You begin to live with a lightness that comes from knowing your true self, the awareness that exists beyond all thoughts, eternal, unshaken and free. Thanks for watching.